Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2. So we have done our prep. Now it's time to cook and fry the pork chops, saute the Brussels sprouts, and
Cook the potatoes.
Yes, put the twice baked potatoes.
So we have the
in
oven
the oven
preset to 350
So oven is preset to 350, you guys.
for the to cook the twice baked potatoes. It's remaining time. Okay, so now we have our flour mixture for our pork chops.
Now tell them what you put. How do you?
What I do to make the easy way is I use House of Autry's chicken fry because it's already pre-seasoned, and all I have to do is add my cornstarch. But if you want to do your own seasoning, you'll just use regular all-purpose flour. Put your seasonings in it, the same seasonings that you use to season your pork chops, which is paprika, pepper, seasoning oil, onion powder, garlic salt, garlic powder, and pepper. So if you didn't want to buy the pre-seasoned, then you can make it yourself. What I do is I also add even whether I use the pre-seasoned chicken flour or I make my own, I always add cornstarch. Cornstarch will give it a lot more crunch when you start to fry them. So I always add cornstarch.
Yeah.
And like I said, I just eyeball it, but I usually do, if I have 2 cups of flour, I may use a half a cup of cornstarch to add to the mixture. The potatoes can go in. Like I said, we're preheating the oven to 350.
All right, guys. So we're putting this in now. The potatoes.
And you just, once you put them in the oven, you just let them go. You can check them, but you don't take them out, or at least cut your oven off until you get, all of your pork chops done.
Yep. So guys,
And so
I'm going to be, now I want to show you guys this. So for the pork chops, we've got our pan of grease. We've got our
cooking oil.
We've got our pan of vegetable oil, you guys. So this is heating up currently, getting ready to for us to fry the pork chops in, and then this is our pan preheating for.
Oh, it's not preheated.
Oh, it's not on yet, but this is our skillet we're going to use to saute the Brussels sprouts. We've poured the bacon droppings in here, and that's where we're going to use to saute the Brussels sprouts. We've got that going now. So right now what we're going to do is, I believe the pan, oops, hold on guys. Camera got a little, okay.
So now we're just waiting for our oil to heat up. I do not have a thermometer, a cooking thermometer. So what I do is, once I let my grease heat for a while, I use a wooden kebab skewer and I stick it in there. If it starts to sizzle, that lets me know my grease is hot. If you do not have anything with a wooden handle or anything, then what I do is I take a pinch of flour and drop it in the grease. If it starts to cook, that lets you know your grease is hot. If it does not, do not start frying your pork chops until your grease is hot. Okay?
There you go, guys. So one tip, 101. Oh, also what I learned too, if you take a little water and boop, and it does it sizzle?
Oh, well.
I heard that too, but
okay.
there's
You probably can if you're a professional, but since that is not I, we'll do it with the
yeah, guys, there's many ways you can check if your grease is hot, but this is, like I said, this is how we do it. So we're just sharing our ways and methods of how we do our cooking. So
we're gonna wait till the grease gets a little hot. What we can do, we'll go ahead and I'll preheat the pan for the Brussels sprouts.
yeah, I'll keep an eye on those.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Let me get the veggies. And so what I did with that, I poured the leftover drippings we had from the bacon from this morning, and I'm using it as the oil to cook the Brussels sprouts.
Yes.
So that too needs to get
Hot as well. Yep, there you go. This is our onion and our mushrooms for our, remember our Brussels sprouts that we cleaned and chopped in the previous video before this one. So we've had that sitting to the side so that it can air dry and be ready for the sauteing that we're about to do. So guys, since my mom will be, frying the pork chop and I'll be doing the sauteing, I'm gonna move the camera over to where we are so you guys can get a glimpse of both of us doing it. That's, the easiest way so you guys can see everything. Guys, so come follow me. So we've got our pan, it's sizzling, so we're gonna pour our, so the onions and the mushrooms are gonna saute. We're gonna let them cook down a bit before we put the Brussels sprouts in. So that's pretty much how that looks.
I gotta get it all.
Yes. I had one hand.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, guys. See the sizzling. Our grease for the pork chops is just about done. I can feel the heat from that. So that is another way you can know for sure that it's getting hot. There we go. Alright guys, so this is how I'm gonna do it. Alright everyone, so make sure to check out part 1 of this video. I put part 1 up earlier today before this one. Of course, by the time you see this video, it'll be up on YouTube. Make sure to first check out part 1 so you can see kind of the beginning process of our cooking today. Part 1 was the prep, and now part 2, which is what you're watching now, is the full cooking part. So our stuff is sizzling. I'm sauteing this now as we go. Alright guys, so you can see the sizzling going on. Now I'm going to drop in the Brussels sprouts. All of them are going in. So guys, with Brussels sprouts like these, they are going to cook down. They're going to cook down. So what we're going to do is put a top on these so that the heat can entrap everything into together. So once you put it in the pot like this, it's gonna cook all the way down to where you can stir and mix the onion and the mushrooms together. So yes, everybody, that is that part with the Brussels sprouts and everything, because with the Brussels sprouts you want them to get tender and well, you know, to soak all in the steam and everything like that, because you want them to be tender when you eat them. Because Brussels sprouts, for those of you who may have never eaten Brussels sprouts, they kind of taste like a cabbage if you've had that. So typically, same way you cook cabbage, you cut them, you clean them, and then you let them, you know, cook into, get that pressure of the heat so that they'll become tender. So fire up
On the Brussels sprouts, turn it down a little bit.
Okay. Yep. So guys, we've got that in there. So now I've heard the grease pop a little bit, so that lets us know that the grease is just about getting ready. So
Let's put it ready.
I'm just fixing the camera, you guys. So this is how my mom was talking about how she checks it. So if you guys can see those little bubbles coming up when she puts the wooden stick in, that's what she was talking about, of how she, you know, is able to tell or not if it's ready. So it's just about ready, guys. Now we're gonna show you how we put.
Once these cook down a little bit, then add your seasoning.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the pork chops, you take your pork chop.
There you go.
Okay, so once you get your pork chops ready, you get your flour ready, you put one pork chop in the flour, you toss it around, and then you shake off the excess flour and drop it in the grease.
Mm-hmm.
I
There
think
you go,
everybody
guys.
should know how to fry pork chops. Don't
You
they?
would be surprised.
Oh, okay.
So guys, shakes it up like this. And then comes right over, drops it in the grease, and there you go. So that's how you do it, guys. We're gonna keep going, and then we'll get back with you soon. So guys, I want to show you this. One of the things we're adding to the Brussels sprouts for that extra pump of flavor, we're putting some chicken broth in there and cooking it like that. That's just going to add another, you know, goodness of flavor, because what's going to happen is those Brussels sprouts and those vegetables are going to soak the chicken broth up, and it's just going to be much better. It's going to taste even better than it already was. So yeah, that's what we did, an extra step we did there. So everyone, one of the things I wanted to mention is when you are cooking pork chops or frying pork chops, these ones that we have are very thick. We notice that. Usually the ones we get are a bit thin or maybe medium size, but these we know are very, very thick. So just an FYI, if your pork chops are very thick and you're frying them, even baking them in the oven, it's gonna cook, of course. Most of you probably know it's going to cook a little bit longer just because of that extra thickness of the pork chop. So this is what it looks like of, you know, currently with them. So guys, one of the things too, when you first pull the pork chops out of the grease, you want to let it just drain over the pot just for a few seconds, get that extra grease drained out. And one of the things you may notice too, we put a paper towel down on our plate where we're putting the pork chops after they come out of the pot, because obviously the paper towel is what soaks up that extra grease, so that it's not too greasy when, you know, you're serving it for it to be eaten. So we got it in. Look at that. Bubble, 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 guys. We gotta stay a little ways back because you see that grease is popping out. Have any of you ever, when you were frying chicken or something, gotten popped by grease before? I'm sure if you have, you know that it is not a good thing. And it doesn't feel good either. So those Brussels sprouts, you can see them cooking down. So you guys see the difference from when I first put them in the pan. They were all, you know, smoky and everything. That's the purpose of the top, so that they can cook down and sweat into that steam. So, yeah.
They'll start to rise up. And so I just check them, you know, like maybe every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes.
Yep.
Just to keep an eye on them.
So guys, we are pretty much just in, this is the waiting period. You let the pork chops cook. You know, as you can see, Brussels sprouts are in the pot, and then our potatoes are in the oven. So this is the waiting process of the cooking. You know, you're doing everything, but you have to let it cook through and stuff like that. So once we're done cooking everything through, then we'll be back. So guys, one of the things we like to do is taste test while we cook. And my mom and I have cut the pork chop up. I'm gonna do a taste test for you guys so you can see. Okay guys, I am, like I said, taste test. I've got the pork chop. And this is one of the things, you guys probably do this as well, like, you know, taste your food as you're cooking, because you want to make sure it's, you know, seasoned to your liking and everything, and if not, you add more. So, here's my chicken. I mean, pork chop.
How is it? Is it juicy?
Mm-hmm. Okay. You guys, it's so good. Yeah. So crispy too. Very good. All right, everybody. So here we've got the pork chops. They're all ready now, nice and fried, crispy, fresh out of the grease, out of the fry. And we're ready now. We've got our potatoes here. The potatoes are hot. Look at those guys. So once the potatoes are done, this is what they look like. And then we move them right onto the plate.
I'll leave the jalapeno.
So yeah guys, simple dinner. Fried pork chops, sauteed with Brussels sprouts, some bacon in there, some onions and mushrooms, and then our twice baked potatoes with the cheese, the onions, the peppers, and the bacon baked in the oven. So this is the end product of what we've made today and what we've prepped. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, we also made some fresh iced tea. So we do it like that. I usually make it. Today my mom made it. But yeah, you guys, typically I like to mix my iced tea with lemonade or with other types of juice. I like to mix it. I don't really like iced tea by itself. But yeah, guys, so that's pretty much it. So right now we're just cleaning up the kitchen. Basically, we have the food ready to serve for dinner, but we're just cleaning up the kitchen on the stuff that we can clean, like pans and stuff that we're done using, and pots and stuff, because like I said, we clean as we go. It's much easier that way. So until next time, you want to say anything, Mom?
Thanks for watching.
So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, see you later.